For real? Geoff Keighley tweets out a cryptic teaser, and you have no guesses, no assumptions about what it could be or who could be behind it. If you went to this location and it was a 3-story statue of Crash Bandicoot, I'd tell you it was. If it led to the front lawn of Bethesda Game Studios and Todd Howard was standing next to a flashing neon sign that said Fallout New Vegas 2, I would tell you it was.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
We got ourselves a mystery. So I'm going to go over this mystery. We have a statue that is in the middle of the Mojave Desert with no context and nothing else. And we're going to try to solve this because I have thoughts. And then we're going to really dig into the details.
Are we saying this thing just showed up in the middle of the night? Or one day it was not there, and the next day it was.
That is what happened. Yes.
Okay. A
little bit of background. The statue in question has appeared. Geoff Keighley is actually the one that tweeted this out. So again, one of the many headlines that you can find regarding this game. The Game Awards Desert Statue Explained. Geoff Keighley sparks massive announcement theories. What sparked this entire thing? Geoff Keighley tweeted the following tweet. It was simply a picture of a section of what turned out to be this larger statue, but it was just this image. And then the words regal, inspiring, thickness.
Without 2 C's.
Now this was quickly recognized as a What 3 Words address. So What 3 Words is a website and an app that every 3 square meters of the entire world has been assigned a 3-word code. So if you pull up the website right now, where you sit at home, at work, or whatever, you can pull it up, you can hit the button, and it will tell you what your 3-word code is that could lead people to your exact 3 square meter location. Or you could look it up, whatever. So that's what this was. Regal, inspiring, thickness. So people, they looked up that address on What 3 Words, and it brought them here to the middle of nowhere. Right here in the middle of the Mojave Desert. Once that was found, people went out to it.
Which tells me again, by the way, looking at that map, that this thing was pre-constructed and hauled out here because that was pretty far off the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was not constructed there, for sure. It was one of those things where overnight it was brought in. What cracked me up was first, now this is I don't know who Sense Potato is. I'm not familiar. However, this is a guy that has been utilized through a lot of these news stories. He tweeted, "This is the full teaser that Geoff Keighley posted today. At the 30-second mark in the bottom left, looks like Jormungandr, the world serpent. Either this is a new Norse IP, unlikely, or 1,000% a new God of War being teased." We can kind of see now we've got these tendrils, this spider-like appendages coming out the front, and that was his first reaction to that. And then he followed that up later at night. He was surprised. So now it's nightfall. He then tweets again. He says, "The statue is lighting up at night. From all the evidence, this is granted, this is the guy that just told us this is 1,000%
yeah.
a new God of War game." He says, "Now, from all the evidence, this is most likely Diablo 4 expansion, not God of War, as Diablo fans have pointed out that the demons match D4's designs. Still hopeful this ends up being something else, but so far, this is the conclusion." And from there, we had a lot of speculation flying around. We also had people called out Elder Scrolls, or some people were even saying Half-Life 3. Well, then, so going off of this Diablo theory, there were people tweeting about Diablo and Jez. So Jez Corden, insider that's hits more than he misses whenever it comes to insider information. He didn't outright say it was Diablo 4, but some people were saying like, "Oh, guess it's time to re-download Diablo 4, whatever." And he was like tweeting back with emojis and things like that. So Jez was implying that indeed this was Diablo 4 related. However, Jason Schreier, which is basically gaming's only investigative reporter, followed up, and he said that he was not sure where Jez would have gotten that impression, but that it was definitely not Diablo 4. He wouldn't say what game it was, but he said that it was a good one. Now, all of the stories, and I was shocked that nobody speculated some of this stuff. So at the bottom of so here we got this one from Deserto, one of the first places to report on it, and they said as of now, no studio has taken credit for this statue, and neither Geoff Keighley nor the Game Awards has provided further context. Then on IGN, it mentioned that the Game Awards kicks off on Thursday, December 11th, so we don't have long to find out what the statue is about. Let us know your best guesses in the comment. So everybody's like, we have no idea what this could possibly be. What could possibly be related to this thing? We have no guesses. And I'm just thinking, seriously? For real? Geoff Keighley tweets out a cryptic teaser, and you have no guesses, no assumptions about what it could be or who could be behind it. I'm telling you, if you went to this location and it was a 3-story statue of Crash Bandicoot, I'd tell you it was Hideo Kojima. If it led to the front lawn of Bethesda Game Studios and Todd Howard was standing next to a flashing neon sign that said Fallout New Vegas 2, I would tell you it was Hideo Kojima. Geoff Keighley tweeting this out makes me think there is no way that this is not Hideo Kojima doing something. Hideo Kojima loves his cryptic teases, and we all know that somewhere, some oak tree, whether in this life or the other, has Geoff Keighley's initials and Hideo Kojima's initials carved into its trunk with a heart around it. Like, I simply cannot see a scenario. Now, come in exactly a week, I will either look like an idiot or a prophet. But right now, my thing is, Geoff Keighley sends out cryptic coordinates to a statue. And I mean, it's got an alligator, it's got dinosaurs and demons and an eldritch god. And does that sound crazy? Yeah, but that sounds like Hideo Kojima to me. I mean, he made a party member and a core gaming mechanic out of a possessed puppet in the last Death Stranding game. I don't think he's afraid of a couple of dinosaurs and an eldritch god. So yeah, there you go. That is my gut reaction. That is my initial instinct, is that there's no way this is not Hideo Kojima.
Okay. First off, I mean, I have many guesses that I think are all valid. It blows my mind that people are missing some great guesses that it could be, but I don't necessarily think they are. For one, Path of Exile 2 uses that very gothic, evil, and very dark, grim style. And
But so
one,
many
that game
games do.
and that game is about to come out of early access and go live. So that's one. Two is a revivification, if you will, of
Stuck the landing.
possibly Quake,
Ooh,
because
that
we
would be
haven't
cool.
heard anything from Quake forever. And an even more obscure game that's not Claire obscure is Hexen, the franchise Hexen, which used absolutely evil, dark images. But dude, look at the games we've played recently. Remnant, and then the fact that this statue has what looks like a gate where everything is kind of piled up and shrouded around the gate. And so part of me thinks it's sort of related to that, which, you know, could be a lot of things. It could be Elder Scrolls, because, you know, I looked at the armor on that one, that guy right there in the middle bottom. Very, very reminiscent of the Nordic armor in Skyrim. And then, of course, you have the world serpent. I saw that. And you brought up the alligator that has arms that are as long as a human being's.
We've got
So that was kind of
a bear right
that was kind of
here.
weird. But dude, there's so many different things that it can be, and yet I'm obliged to agree with you on the fact that Keighley wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't Kojima-san. And you have to use Keighley's pronunciation when you say it with distinction. That definitely, to me, looks like a doorway. I mean, it's even got steps leading up to it. I mean, look at the loading screen for Baldur's Gate, for God's sakes. The big long stairwell out of the Underdark.
If we say that it's not Hideo Kojima, which, to be clear, Hideo Kojima is still my guess. I am sticking to Hideo Kojima.
I wrote it down in my holy scriptures, so we'll be able to hold you to that.
But if we say, okay, if it's not going to be Hideo Kojima, let's take a look at some of the other things. So we got to factor in that this is the only thing that the Game Awards is doing in this manner, right? So this is a lead in to the Game Awards. So it's got to be big. It's not going to be some small thing. They're not going to do it for a game that people are going to be like, they're going to hear it. They're going to be like, huh? You know, this is going to be something that is either made by a company with prestige, or it's going to be a continuation of a series with prestige. I can't see any way around. It's going to be one of those two things. But then the other thing that we have to kind of factor in here. So Jason Schreier, who is, he does Forbes and all that stuff. He's like I said, he's like the only investigative journalist that we have in games media. He said that, and he has impeccable access and insiders. And he says it is not Diablo 4. He knows what it is. He's not saying, but he did say it's a good one. This pulls me in a couple of ways. One, while Jason Schreier is a fantastic reporter, very good at his job. However, his taste in games does differ from mine quite a bit. So he's saying it's a good one. So I'm like, okay. He's like games media. He's very games media. So like the kind of game that a games media person would say, I like it. So it might be different from me. So that's probably going to weed out some of the stuff that I would really love, but people would be like, "Oh, it's too this, it's too that, it's too gory, too whatever." So I don't know. So we got to have prestige one way or the other, whether it's the gaming, the studio or the franchise, and it's got a very games media person saying it's a good one. So I don't know.
Well,
with those tweaks, what do you think?
Well, I think that rules out a few of the ones I brought up, but you look at a game like Quake, who's got what I call historical cred. You got street cred with that game. So that's still a major title and a major franchise, even though it hasn't been around for a while. But I mean,
when was the last Quake release?
Quake 4, I think.
Which would
be for the Xbox 360. And early on in the life cycle, too, not like late in the life cycle. So, it's been a long time. But it rules out a game like Hexen because Hexen's a cult following franchise. I think it rules out Path of Exile because they're an indie company based on your rules, which I absolutely agree with you on, by the way. And then Remnant's still kind of a small house, very niche following. So I think it rules that out. Then we've got alligators with full-size arms.
And then we got this T-Rex looking thing here.
Dude, it could be another D&D, dude. It could be another D&D game. I mean, there's a lot of things it could be. That's my point. These are obviously, you got zombies and liches and all kinds of crap in this. You got some type of pit fiend down there at the bottom of this picture you're showing right now.
We got some, like dinosaurs, alligators, warriors, demons. Looks like some sort of gothic grand gate opening. And again, it shall not be overlooked, right? We gotta again talk about how it does light up. So that obviously has to be significant. And of course, it lights up right down that seam that you pointed out. Stairs up, goes right down that seam. If it was a Baldur's Gate, man, that would be interesting. Okay, I'm gonna put this into the universe. What if somehow, whether because they gave them enough creative freedom or they just put enough zeros on the price tag, what if Larian Studios could be convinced to do Baldur's Gate 4? Or what if this would be to announce Larian's own project, Divinity Original Sin 3 or whatever?
I think Larian's got enough street cred right now where it could be them. I think they got enough cred to pull that off. I will say this, though. The nighttime version of this statue gives off strong Daedric Prince vibes as far as Daedric Prince is coming through the portals and, your Mehrunes Dagon and that whole bit and fighting those guys. But the daytime, I just don't know, man. There's so much at work in that monstrosity of a statue that it's kind of hard to nail down. I really don't think it's going to be Diablo related. I will say that.
I don't either.
I will absolutely rule out Diablo because I think Diablo 4 is just. Am I allowed to say cooked? I think. Well,
that's the other thing is like Diablo 4 has done enough damage to the franchise that them saying like, guys, Diablo 5 will get no hype. No one would care.
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So no, it's
But
got to
yeah,
be one that.
man, Larian would be a great call here. Nobody said anything about CD Projekt Red either. So is it a new Witcher? Is it a gameplay of the Witcher trailer? Maybe we're talking about Ciri going through the
But
portal
see,
to the.
if it was CD Projekt Red, I would think it would have to be a new property because we've already seen too much of The Witcher 4 to do something like this.
And I
think.
agree with that statement as well. I do too.
But it's like this is the thing for something that you have not yet announced. Like if you
Yeah.
already see it coming, I don't think you do this for it. And to get the Game Awards behind you, that also means that the Game Awards think and Geoff Keighley obviously key amongst that crowd. Geoff Keighley thinks that this is going to be a massive
That's what
deal.
worries me. It's not the statue at all. It's that Geoff Keighley's the one that dropped it. That's what bugs me. So I'm not going to nail it down like you did and say it's absolutely Kojima.
That's just my guess. That's what I got to go with. That is that's where I'm drawn to.
My top 3 based on the artwork on this statue are going to be Quake, some type of weird Kojima new thing he's got going on, and then probably a D&D related title that's maybe more of an action oriented one, which would be fabulous. That's where I'm at.
So if you were to put all your chips on one, what are you guessing as far as studio or franchise? Which
I think
one?
it's going to be Quake.
That is us digging into this ARG mystery statue. We'll see. We've got in exactly a week. We will know if either of us are right or we both look like idiots. I'm saying Kojima.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Why'd I say it? Kojima. I'm saying Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
And Jay is saying Quake.
I must leave you adieu.